Alrighty everybody, and welcome back to the channel. I know it's been quite some time since I've brought to you a last video. Don't worry, I do have a good 12 or so videos that I did record. A lot of videos I did record that unfortunately were on my phone and they were uploaded to my YouTube. However, they were done as unlisted videos and they were given out to people who asked about them. Is basically I was unable to record software because my computer would crash every time I would try to record on my PC, on the old PC rather. Once I got my new PC, then I was trying to transfer the video recording and editing software, and that was unfortunately not able to be transferred, so I had to download a new software for editing and try to learn that. But at that point, I was sick for a week, and then came back, and then I was trying to get the server opened for my account, where I was unable to access my account on the computer. So again, I was just stuck on the phone, and I had no way of editing it. So it sounded horrible on the phone. So I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna do that. So I do have videos which I am gonna be posting. So apologies for that. I'm back, and today we're going to be covering the Night of the Hunt. I missed the first day, but it was pretty much the exact same strategy as the first time. I think the buffs were different on them. This one as well. Before it was we were using Thunderstorm and Scarlet Thirst, as well as, or sorry, not Thunderstorm. Thunderstorm was the alt one, but there was one other one. So if we look at the ones that we want is Scarlet Thirst. This is the one that determines our start, and we need it to go off on the first kill, basically. So you have a 20% chance. So the strategy is basically restart it until you get that. The second one that we want is the Devouring Codex. However, this one increases the attack of the basic attack until the end of the battle. We also have Weeded Blade, which I don't remember if that was in the old one as well, but this is basically it's almost like a Fleeting Bella buff at all times for assassins and marksmen. The best team is going to be using the same comp that was the best team on the previous one. This was kind of a latecomer addition. We discovered this when we were testing it on the final day, or on Saturday, I think, of the first week. And so not many people used it. Yeah, you'll see most people will be using a comp similar to this, which is they'll be using a Serene instead of an Amy. However, swapping to Amy instead of Serene usually adds 50 to 100 to most accounts, higher than whatever your max score is. So it's very strong upgrade using an Amy. So yeah, and I'll talk about the strategy for that later. Here we have showing the top two teams from the last hunt. So I updated the seal, so it's now correct. The positioning, the ult order is still the same, and then the strategy is pretty much the same. For team 2, again, this I still need to test whether or not it is functional, else it'll have to be this team 3 that is going to be the main carry right here. So if this is not working, or sorry, if this one is not working, then I'll test an update and I'll drop it down for this one. But this was the best team in the very first night of the hunt, so I put it down here as a reference. It's likely still to be fairly decent if you don't have any of the newer characters, which is Tiaona and F. Bella. Likely you'll try to run something like this. Because I'm not going to be testing the Team 2 rotation in this video, I'm going to be running instead this Team 1. And then the rotation for that is going to be down here. So if I scroll down a little bit more so you could see the whole thing right here. Basically, this is kind of how it's going to be going. Is you're going to have the team 1 rotation. You run at 1 time speed, reset until you get the first kill. This order is very important that you have it set up this way, which is TA, FB, Amy, and then Akka, Van in that order. So if you don't have it in this order, it could mess it up. Pretty much some of the baseline things to know is that Van, you will only ult once with him, and then you'll never use him again just because he'll always have a permanent uptime. After the first Amy ult, all subsequent Amy ults will be landing on the spot behind TA, and you also you time it so that it goes just after TA uses her ultimate, you use the Amy ultimate. So they're always in sync together. That's very important because if you don't do that, then using Amy will interrupt. It'll interrupt Van. It'll interrupt T Amy ult. So it's important that you need to do that. FB ult goes into TA. If you're trying an Agris team, then you would do it into Van Helsing instead. So TA ult should aim towards the top left upper corner. That guarantees that no matter where the enemies spawn on the field, you're always going to hit every single one of the enemies with her ult initial damage, and that she doesn't have to have any turn rotation time downtime. So basically, you should try to kill the enemy within your first 6 seconds is about for most people. Sometimes it's a little bit longer, 7 or 8 seconds, but usually you get that kill within the first 6 seconds, then you get that 10 blood cells. So we're just going to be basically repeating until we get this blood soul going, and then we're just going to follow the rotation. So this is how the rotation is going. The way it's down is basically at the specific time you use that ultimate following these sorts of rules. So first you do Amy to group everybody together. You wait till everybody has traveled. Once everybody has traveled, that's important because basically acapella is going to be your tank. You want to make sure everybody is geared up. So TA, Van Helsing, and Serene are going to be using the eyeglass or truth or whatever the eyeglass is. Amy and acapella don't really matter. They aren't there to do any damage whatsoever. So you could put on pretty much any artifact would be fine for them. It's negligible. So this is pretty much the first part rotation. This is just basically getting everybody set up. So TAFB, then you do Aka, Van, TA, and Amy again, and then Aka. So the basic things are TA ult is going to be roughly every 12 seconds. And then it's going to be paired with Amy ult. Van is just to get going. And then Aka ult, basically the timings for the Aka ult, it doesn't really matter quite as much, but it's spaced out a certain amount. So it's usually within the 15 seconds so that there's never a drop in her buff, so that there's always a buff going with still a little bit of overlap time in the rotation. Then we have this one here. So again, it's going to just follow along the times. If you need to, you could pause, check, see what times are going to be next, unpause, and do it that way. I'm running this rough, so we'll see what score I get. Sorry, this is going on a little bit long, but basically all of the things that you need to know are going to be in here, so you could just follow along the timing, or you could copy it and whatever, have it off to the side or written down somewhere. That's fine as well. Do note that on this one, my acapella is a level 10 ult, so on the stages like the first one, you do need to have an acapella ult of like a 9 or a 10 in order for the rotations to be successful. For something like this one, the second hunt, it's not quite as necessary, so you don't really need that in order to have it running. So this is what the positioning is going to look like. Again, whenever I first tested Amy during the second night of the hunt, I would try to do Amy to group everybody forwards or to go down. That's not as effective if you go back and towards this back right hand corner, basically, because it's a very long rectangle is what it looks like, and so you want to move into the back bottom left, or whatever this bottom left corner is on your screen. It'll rotate slightly, and so it'll be the bottom right. But you want to head towards this direction, and with T Amy ult, you want to be trying to aim at this corner, basically. And that's pretty much it. So we're going to go ahead and get started. It is important that you run it on 1 time speed because for whatever reason that seems to increase the amount of ticks that you're getting for damage, and so it actually increases your damage. I could try to run this on full auto just to see what it would look like. Even running this on full auto with whatever with this team did fairly well on the first time, but we're just going to go ahead and get started here. We're just going to go until we get the first kill going. Once the first kill is going, if I get the blood soul, then I'm good. If not, then I'm just going to restart this until I get it going. So let's keep doing this. Yep, then once I do, you could kind of see at the time, it's usually about like 5 to 6 seconds. Alright, so here I'm just going to basically pull everybody back. I want to have them within the edge of the blue range, Wait for everybody to travel. I need to turn off that. And then we're just going to TA. Hold on a second. Alright, FB into TA. Then we're going to do Aka Van. Alright, and then we're going to do our rotation. So we're just going to do TA at 40. With Amy right after. We're going to wait for Aka again. Alright, then we're at 127 is our next one. And we're going to do Aka and FB. Alright, then TA is going to be at 115-ish. Alright, we're slightly off on our timing. I'll have to see what's going on. Next is going to be 104 probably. 103. Okay. Alright, Aka again. Okay, next is going to be at 50-ish. Alright. It'll be at 34. Okay. Then we'll have enough for maybe one more ult. I don't know what happened on this rotation. It got so messed up somehow. Alrighty, well I hope that was helpful. I'm going to have to redo this a couple more times, test some more things, and see what I can do to improve this. So we'll look forward to seeing you all in the next one.